Your thoughts on the Supreme Court ruling?
Well, I can tell you this, Chris. There are two things that are resulting from this: chaos and confusion. The court has created a situation which we will not be able to easily unscramble. And secondly, they played right into the hands of Donald Trump. He said he was going to flood the zone. He told us he would overwhelm the system with executive orders and changes. That's exactly what he was empowered to do by the Supreme Court decision.
When you say chaos and confusion, let me start with that. Give me something specific. What's your concern right now moving forward?
Well, if the injunction applies state by state, party by party, the obvious question is, what about the states who aren't going to question this decision? Ultimately, what's the status of children born in that state? That seems so basic. It's in our Constitution in the earliest stages where we decided that if a person was born in this country, they have a right to be citizens in this country. In virtually all cases. Now that's a question mark. So who's going to go in and ask the question of the court of whether this applies in the state of Illinois or Missouri or Idaho or Wyoming? The states, some will move forward on it, some will hold back, and the people who are born in that state have a big question mark as to their status.
It is clear that the president and others who are at the press conference today consider this an affirmation of broad executive powers. I was talking just a short time ago to a constitutional professor, and we were talking about the balance of power and the system of checks and balances. He suggested, as he looks at that the most serious concern in the whole system of checks and balances is Congress and whether they're doing their job. Give me your take on where we are with the constitutionally prescribed system of checks and balances right now.
A little history. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, powerful president, reelected, decided he was sick and tired of losing in the Supreme Court. And so he suggested adding a few more justices so he'd get a better result out of the court. He was resisted in Congress not only by the Republicans, but the Democrats as well. They asserted the authority of Congress to make these decisions beyond the president. I can't imagine that happening today. The Republicans who are in leadership in the House and the Senate cower when this president starts to growl, and he growls a lot. And as a result, we're in the situation we're in today. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court has served his strategic purposes.
Beyond birthright citizenship, there is the question of Iran. And in just a few hours, I don't need to tell you, the Senate is set to vote on that resolution that could block President Trump from taking further military action against Iran without first getting congressional approval. I want to play what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said after all of you were briefed about it yesterday, that there's no way Democrats can't vote for this. Take a listen.
What was clear is that there was no coherent strategy, no end game, no plan, no detailed plan on how Iran does not attain a nuclear weapon. Anyone in that meeting, anyone, if they're being honest with themselves, their constituents, their colleagues, would know that we need to enforce the War Powers Act and force them to articulate an answer to some specific questions and a coherent strategy right away.
Senator, what do you expect tonight, and how is it informed by that briefing?
I can't tell you how the Republicans are going to vote on this issue. I think an overwhelming majority of Democrats will be voting in favor of the Kane resolution. I will be. I can just tell you this, Chris, there comes a time when you have to make a hard decision. I faced that with the invasion of Iraq and the suggestion of weapons of mass destruction. 22 Democrats, 1 Republican voted against that invasion. It's the best vote I've ever cast in Congress. As a result of that invasion, we learned there were no weapons of mass destruction, and we still embroiled ourselves in a war that went on for years and cost thousands of American lives. Don't you think the American people should have made the decision at the outset? I think if they would have made the decision, it would have been a different outcome altogether.
Well, the polls certainly back you up that most Americans, at least the majority of Americans, were against that action. But the president at his press conference was just asked about Iran, and he actually went beyond saying just that the sites hit by the bombs were obliterated. He discounted concerns that Iran simply moved its operations elsewhere and is still a threat. Take a listen.
Are you concerned at all about secret nuclear sites in Iran? You talked about maybe just
secret nuclear sites?
Yes, that there might be some.
Not really. Can I tell you? They're exhausted. And Israel's exhausted too. And I dealt with both of them. And they both wanted it settled, both of them. And we did a great job, but they're exhausted. The last thing they're thinking about right now is nuclear.
He says the net effect of the decision that he made is peace, that they are heading to a place where people will stop dying. You just got a classified briefing on this. So what do you say to the president, and what questions do you still want answers to?
Well, I think I'd say to the president, I hope he's right. I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, but I think we ought to ask and answer a very basic question. How far will we go to stop that? There was a time when we had inspectors on the ground 10 years ago who were watching Iran every move as they developed their uranium stockpile. That whole program was eliminated by Donald Trump. The inspectors were eliminated by Donald Trump. And now we're in the mess that we're in today. Ultimately, if we are going to have peace in that region of the world, we'll need inspectors again, international inspectors who are watching what happens. A return to the agreement under President Obama that worked so well. So that is a challenge that I would accept, but I will tell you this. The American people, if they're being asked to send their sons and daughters into combat, have a right to know what's going on and what the real reality is in the future.
The White House senator is now planning to limit intelligence sharing with Congress after the leak of that preliminary Iran report. The president has pointed fingers at Democrats, and in fact, a suggestion is that it was a congressional Democrat who is the leaker. I wonder what the conversations are you are having among your colleagues. Do you think that the White House will do it, and can they?
Well, they can decide what they're going to do in terms of intelligence information. I do not support leaks. I believe that they've been part of our history under presidents of both parties, and I think the sources of those leaks are probably from both political parties as well. Having said that, though, the bottom line is this. The American people do not endorse secret wars. They want to know what's going on, not only with their dollars, but with their children who are being asked to serve in the military and defend our nation. It is the right thing to do. We've got to have a situation where this information is shared on a bipartisan basis. Otherwise, it is suspect, and the secrecy of it is not going to enhance people's credibility.
Senator Dick Durbin, thank you so much for giving us so much time today. As I said, such an important day, and we do appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.